but it could work. If they win the team fight, this looks really, really good. And if you know what, if they're gonna group up together, picking up the Terizla is not a bad option as well.
Yeah, TNC
Surely is
Welcome
cooking,
to
or
Mobile
maybe it's
Legends.
FNOP this time.
Yeah.
Again, two interesting lineups that we're going to see this time around. And also, I love that, yeah, Kelra, you just saw a little glimpse of it, is bringing the Alice back to the gold lane here. Ingan, how are we feeling about both lineups?
I mean, the gold lane Alice, we've seen it numerous times before, but this time with the recent adjustments to Alice, max mana, much larger now, plus the mana regen. So you know Killer can just spam the skills, especially early to mid game, and dominate early game compared to Kozen with the Claude. Although Claude, though, there's an adjustment, no more mana needed as well.
Yeah, no more mana needed, you know, and yeah, I was curious too, because I know you and I were hearing this, and I know the panel mentioned it, like, Coach Why Not was intense, you know, through the draft. So I wonder if we could. It would be great if we got a mic check during the draft. Obviously, we can't get that, but and I'm wondering if that is what led to this lineup that we're going to see. Maybe it ends up working some wonders here. Kirk too as well on the glue, another pick that you don't really see too often in the XP lane, but this could all end up being a great synergy lineup. The way things might fall into place, especially with the Alice once again coming through the gold lane.
Yeah.
But TNC, I mean, even for TNC, they've got a lot of great picks here. Oh, mid lane.
Here comes King Kong. Brusco flickers in with a Sacred Hammer to bring down Kaizen. There's the first blood. Action-packed right away as Escalera tries to work on Brusco. One more hit and he successfully makes a trade.
Yep, that's a trade there, but Kaizen, the jungler, goes down for Brusco over on the other side of the roam. So, interesting trade, but all this, the glaring point of it is the fact that we have seen for this week alone in Week 6 what happens when that first blood does go in the hands of a Hayabusa even. We'll see if it's stopped here. TNC's taking this turtle.
Okay, Brusco wants to go for the Sacred Hammer stun onto Kaizen as Lansdy has his own implosion play, but still TNC manages to get the turtle. Here comes the trade from FNATIC, but Brusco will fall down. Kaizen as well. And look at the penalty zone coming in from Heads. Trying to bring down King Kong. Was able to cast a Wiki Shadow kill onto Escalera, but the kick coming in from Escalera and a shutdown onto King Kong. And that's what you want if you're TNC.
That was a whole lot, man.
Yeah.
That actually, the way that all played out, great for TNC. They get the objective. They got the kills, too. King Kong did go down. I love that lightning bolt. I love to see it. Grab the emotes while you can, ladies and gentlemen.
Or ask from, Leo or Rockhart.
Wait,
They have a lot of diamonds. Right? Just message their pages.
You can't gift them, right?
I think that's why you asked them.
Well, trying to ask, but let's look at this vintage Kelra. Alice is the 4th most played hero of Kelra. He has played the hero 19 games with 57, almost 58% win rate throughout his MPLPH career.
Kelra just showing his versatility, his unique picks, along with the Ruby pick that we all know Kelra loves to use as well. And this time TNC off to a better start compared to game number 1. They're more proactive instead of being very defensive. You know, most of the time game number 1 it was just really a waiting game, waiting for the perfect Hail Mary setup. But this time, they're even the aggressors.
I think that's what you have to do. I don't know, man. When I look back and try to recall, oh, hold on.
What an implosion play, and Escalera tries to stop it with the stun. Kozen goes in with a blazing duet onto Brusco. He's going to fall down in exchange for Escalera and Kaizen, and Kelra picks up a kill as Kirk manages to walk away with split.
Yeah, he's on out of there. Super Friends here holding off Lancy, but again, a trade at 1 for 2, and still the action up on the top side, forcing Kozen to be a little bit defensive here, trying to build up on this Claude too. The interesting matchups, the Claude versus Alice, but Calro for the most part, and mind you, he also has the Festival of Blood emblem, the tier 2 there, so he's just going to be able to kind of scale up really well. He already picked up the Clock of Destiny too. But the fight for the second turtle is going to break out.
Here comes the kick from Escalera onto Brusco. Real World Manipulation will be casted from Super Prince as FNATIC ONIC picks up the turtle. Another kill coming in from King Kong. Hedge trying to soak up every single damage as they try to work on Kirk. Kirk uses the flicker. Here comes Golden with a blazing duet on, connecting onto 3 as he picks up a kill onto Kirk. Keller has to walk away though with flowing blood. Flickers out as well. Super Prince getting sandwiched. Golden picks up a kill. And TNC, a turtle for 2 kills.
All right, TNC got a lot. Again, before that all broke out, my point was going to be, you know, the best that we see TNC is when they're playing the aggressor, and that's usually why we always say, like, early game is where they dominate, but then it falls apart mid to late game. Now, I just feel like, in a lot of sense, they had to just learn to play with that aggression and able to capitalize on some of those moves that they make, and also be a little defensive in the way of how do they read the opponent, how are they moving across the map.
Okay, here comes the counter play. Kaizen, 1-4-3, not off to a good start. The Skeller works on heads. Here comes the conceal from Brusco and Super Friends. Killer with a stun. Are they gonna commit? As Escalera tries to wait patiently, wants to go for Kelra. Jit Kondu. Not going to be enough though, as TNC trying to salvage as a killing spree coming in from King Kong. Off-cam kill onto the middle lane. Now FNATIC ONIC wanting to extend their lead here, trying to work on the implosion from Brusco, plus the Sacred Hammer. And that's a double kill from Kelra.
See, they made it look so easy. Like, they were literally just looking at TNC there under the turret, and he was literally like, yeah, I'm going to show up. Brusco literally walked in and just set that up into the real-world manipulation, and everything fell into place because Kelra was there too. And that's tough because we're not talking about a big gold gap or anything, and it's easy to pull off something like that this early on under a tier 1 turret.
Yeah.
Mind you, is a problem that TNC is going to have for the rest of the game here. So third turtle's up. It's a 1-for-1 right now in terms of turtles. Who's going to get this one?
Heads commits the penalty zone, plus the kick coming in from Escalera, giving everything to Brusco as they burst him down. But FNATIC ONIC, I believe, got the turtle. Now TNC working on the middle lane turret here. Kirk trying to zone out, trying to salvage this turret. And just wow, they just still want to go in as Lancey commits to RWM. Looking, flexing the recalls, and Escalera wants to go right after a knockup once again, but the damage won't be enough for TNC. And there you go, trade after trade, Naisu. We've seen this. FNATIC ONIC will secure the third. Was it FNATIC though? I think it was FNATIC, but TNC opted instead to go for the kills.
Yeah, the last turtle went to the hands of Kaizen. Kaizen's the one that grabbed it from TNC, and they built off of that, right? And they at least bring the gold isn't anything massive in their favor. It's very negligible. But what they did do is stop that from happening and building up for FNATIC ONIC Philippines. And so for TNC, they might just be looking to control some of that mid-game better, some of that late game, getting in the position of, all right, we can go and fight for this Lord here. And it might be off pick-off potential from Escalera. That's what you're going to do with this Cho, but they jump in.
Oh, penalty zone on to 2. And here comes the damage from TNC. Real-world manipulation from Super Friends. Brusco with the flicker in. Kozen manages to escape there, but heads, split. Is that on to? Look at the damage, just still working on a FNATIC ONIC here as TNC manages to get the turret, but here comes King Kong, still has the Wiki Shadow kill. Escalera, all throughout the clash, is still alive.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised he survived that, man. Like, just with a sliver of health, got away. But as we look at the items, maybe that tells a story here. You know, there's nothing, like even Kelra's down in gold in comparison to Kozen, because Kozen, you know, he's got those couple kills, even though Kelra has 3 himself, but he's been farming like a madman. So he's 1,000 gold ahead. But then you have the flip side happening even for King Kong versus Kaizen. So that's why it's kind of like a seesaw, you know? You see this happening for both the sides where they're able to find pickoffs, but I just feel like FNATIC ONIC Philippines, you look at the way they play this lineup, it's almost got to be calculated in synergy with Brusco, in synergy with Super Friends dropping the RWM.
Yeah.
And so for Kelra and King Kong, they have to be a little more calculated if they actually want to commit to a fight. And so that's what they're waiting for. Now as this Lord is up, that's where you see them commit for the objective. TNC though, it's a lot easier for them to just go pick off potential, set things up with the penalty zone, and then scale up. Because remember, whenever you have a Claude here, you get that item power spike a lot sooner now because of the recent patch. And that's what they're going to start up with. Escalera already with the conceal. Okay,
who's he going to pick off here? A stun. It's going to go on to Kirk as Kaizen manages to get the Lord. Here comes Split coming in from Kirk. Head still haven't committed the penalty zone. Oh, he did. But TNC, look at this. We've been saying if they're the aggressors, they're really controlling the game. And honestly, Escalera has literally been the engine. King Kong working on the jungle against 3 members. Does he have the quad shadow?
Oh, no.
Oh, no. He's going to get sandwiched here. We might see an outplay from King Kong.
He's going to have to use it, possibly.
Okay. Wiki shadow kill. But TNC just waiting. Here's the quad shadow. Will he be able to escape though? Delaying much time. Here comes the kick coming in from Escalera, and eventually they're gonna burst down King Kong.
Yeah, King Kong, I mean, I don't know if he was just trying to make a play, you know, by himself, all lonesome on the side of the jungle, but ultimately it's just a kill going to the hands of TNC. Lord still had to be worked on too. It's going up on the top side. So for FNATIC ONIC Philippines, they're going to find themselves on the defense. And really, TNC can play into this. The momentum's in their favor. They're looking to play into the Lord, get these tier 2 turrets down, and then get to knocking on the base of FNATIC ONIC Philippines. When I look at the lineup, that's the question is like, when does this lineup shine for FNATIC ONIC Philippines? It's always when they get the synergy right with those ultimates from Brusco especially. So shields are already going to pop. TNC gets them a ton of gold in the exchange. King Kong?
King Kong goes after Kaizen 1v1 between the jungles, but the quad shadow is there to escape. And now Escalera, we all know he's been cooking all throughout game number 2. One crucial pickoff from Escalera with the Way of the Dragon can actually end this game early on, because so far Kaizen has been activated 3-0-3. Looking at the gold lead compared to Kelra, that's 2K up against an Alice.
2K, so I'm wondering, you know, like, was this Alice, it's great to see, but was it the best choice in terms of this match in this game number 2? Kelra, obviously, he hasn't died, you know, so you can't discredit that. He's close to building next item, too. He's already got the 3 locked in, or he's got the 2 locked in. BOD also picked up by King Kong. Waiting for that Holy Crystal, and I don't know, maybe that's the moment, but Escalera.
Here comes the kick to burst down Brusco, plus the real-world manipulations, all ultimate casted. Blazing Duet coming in from Kaizen with the Winter Crown play, but here comes Kirk with a split, and a shot down onto Kaizen in exchange for Kirk. And if you're FNATIC ONIC, that's favorable to your team.
Wow. So, very close, but also, like I was just saying, if Kelra had the Holy Crystal, I know he survived, but barely. King Kong's still here. Mid-side, I mean, they lacked a little bit of the damage to cap things off. And that's because when you look at the lineup that FNATIC ONIC Philippines has, if Kelra is able to get into that zone where they're all bunched up, you know, and TNC's clumped up in a choke point, then that works for them. But still, he needs time to build up on the items, needs that extra magic damage and the penetration eventually. Right now, they're just kind of having a tough time at capping out kills. Right now, though, the fight for this Lord.
Here comes the penalty zone, plus a split from Kirk. Escalera onto the back line, but the implosion play as Kaizen gets the Lord. A pick off onto Escalera. Here comes the conceal coming in from FNATIC ONIC as they try to work on heads. Heads will fall down. A mega kill coming in from Kelra. And now another trade. A two for none, but TNC manages to get the Lord.
They got the Lord. TNC again. They'll continue. I mean, even with that one, they're going to lose some turrets because of this little swing that FNATIC ONIC does after the, team fight. The skirmish broke out, but TNC's doing the right things. They're getting the objectives. They're trying to play into it. They already got the shields earlier on from the base in the first push, and now they're also starting to pick up some of these defensive items. You got 3 Winter Crowns over here, so even if FNATIC ONIC gets that setup that I was just talking about, then at least there's some defensive options for TNC, and that's the thing. They might actually be able to win this game here and get to a game number 3. But FNATIC going to go ahead and try to work and clear out the Lord in the mid.
Okay, Brusco, Escalera charging his Jin Kundu. Here comes Kirk. And look at that, Blazing Duet coming in from Kaizen.
Oh.
He has to walk away though, as they manage to bring down Kaizen as well. Look at Lancy, heads all of a sudden, TNC is falling apart, and FNATIC ONIC manages to catch Escalera also as King Kong picks up a triple.
What just happened? I mean, FNATIC ONIC Philippines, they'll just take their time and wait for Kaizen. He's going to have to defend himself, but he doesn't even have the Blazing Duet. So right now, FNATIC just going to run it down mid. They've only got this last minion left, but Kaizen waiting for the team to come up.
4 against 1. Kaizen still hasn't have the Blazing Duet as he tries to enter in with a Winter Crown. But look at this. Kirk is going to get the pick. Here comes the reinforcements coming in for the Phoenix Army. And just enough time bought for TNC to defend the charge from FNATIC.
He bought enough time. Kaizen did his job. But this is This is not what TNC wanted to happen, of course, because of how they were just pushing in with that second Lord. They've been doing so well, getting all the objectives, and now, again, that last fight, it just looked like FNATIC ONIC Philippines was like, yep, we are confident enough to go in and fight this Lord before it even reaches the turret, and then we'll find our window. And TNC fell apart. You said it during the play-by-play.
You know, I honestly want to see what happened during that caliber. I'm pretty sure Kelra was a big part of it with the Flowing Blood Oda a combination with his Alice. And now FNATIC ONIC manages to burst down Inhibitor turret in the middle lane. Despite TNC actually holding on to a gold lead previously before that clash, FNATIC ONIC once again is just, you know, leading this game.
They're doing what we've seen them do, Ingan, for the past 6 weeks. And why, as a reminder, they're undefeated. They're going for the record of the seasons here. And if they end up turning this around and getting the sweep, they're 1 point closer to that, even though they've already locked in, obviously, the playoff spot. And for TNC, this is a situation they've been in through many times of the season, as they now have to fight for this Lord here with this huge swing in favor of FNATIC ONIC Philippines. The way they approach this fight, even Escalera, he had to pick up the Immortality. He's got that now. But they got to line things up correctly. Also wondering, you know, Lancy, is he just going to get the RWM? Define Glaive also locked in for Kelra. He's all item locked at this point. There's the conceal. Escalera going to force him out.
Oh, double man knockup for Escalera, plus the pickoff onto Brusco. But TNC is not going to commit. Escalera's Immortality will be popped, and Kelra onto the backline! Just manages to bring down and burst down Kaizen and Lancy as well. Goes in and heads, trying to escape. Conceal coming in from FNATIC, double kill coming in from Kelra. It's just heads left. A triple kill for Kelra. Escalera onto the middle lane. They have no minions, but unstoppable kill coming in from King Kong. Wow!
Oh, man. That's a good showcase of the emote right now. I'll lock it in. The Thunderbolt here as they get ready to end the game and take the series in a sweep.
10-0. One of the strongest starts in MPL history. And FNATIC ONIC doing it in style, managing to flex their recalls up against TNC.
I don't know, man. After seeing that, full force lightning